All right, everybody. This is the How to Hunt Deer podcast. My name's Dan. His name's Jason. And real quick housekeeping before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode. If you guys could do us a huge favor, go to iTunes or Spotify, wherever you listen or download the How to Hunt Deer podcast. We would appreciate a 5-star review. Let everybody know that this podcast is both entertaining and educational. On top of that, we do have the How to Hunt Deer YouTube channel. If you could go, if you like to listen to your content on YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. That would help us out dramatically. Jason, dude, this weather is bananas today.
It's crazy. Did you get snow?
Yeah, we got snow.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like we got a ton, but just when I say that, I look in between the houses and there's like 5-foot drifts.
Yeah. That's what it looks like here. I didn't go outside yet, but it looks like there's a lot of snow.
Yeah. I know that like eastern Wisconsin, or according to some of the reports that I saw on the news today, there was a ton of snow dumped.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I went to bed last night, it said 7 inches last night, and then I think 3 between the next 2 days. So
yeah,
I mean, we were just in shorts the other day. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. So now it can melt.
So do you have to do snow removal because of this?
No, I don't. I did for 20 some years, but I haven't for probably 6 or 7 now. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's crazy out there, man. The temps dropped, and we're going to eventually talk about it today, but the temps have dropped. I'm glad I got out and did some shed hunting when we did, because shed hunting in this would have been brutal this week. And so even though I've done it before, man, I used to shed hunt.
So
crazy. Yeah. Any weather, doesn't matter. I'm going out probably too soon or too late. And, but dude, we had, some good weekend weather. And, did you accomplish anything this weekend?
My son and I went shed hunting Saturday, and we went to a property that is in a straight line. It's about a mile from my best piece.
Yeah.
And I've had permission on that for probably 9 or 10 years now to shed hunt. And it's been hit or miss, as far as finding them. Well, we hiked probably almost 3 miles. And then on our loop back, my son happened to find his first shed, which was really cool. So,
yeah.
So
I'll tell you this, man. I took my boy and his best friend out of school early, and we drove 3.5 hours to a farm that I have access to in southwestern Iowa. And we spent the night in a small town motel. Dude, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I had so much fun hanging out with those guys. They were so excited to get out and find sheds. Yeah. I think they were more excited that they got pulled out of school early on Friday. And then when we got there, we instantly started finding sheds, which was...
Did you really?
Oh, dude, we found... I think we found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 11 sheds and 2 deadheads.
Nice.
In like a day and a half of looking, and then stuff, and I'll get into where we found them and stuff like that. But man, we had so much fun. Then we went out for pizza that night to a small town, pizza joint, really good pizza. It's crazy. You go to a small town, and I'm used to paying like bigger city prices.
Yep.
Dude, we got a large pizza, a large cheese stick. I got a side salad and 3 drinks for $30.
Isn't that crazy?
And like, I was just like blown away. That would have cost me $50 to $60 around where I live. Yep. But the small towns, they got to be competitive, and it's amazing. Like places like that still are able to exist. But shout out to Outlaw Pizza. That's what I'm gonna say. Shout out to Outlaw Pizza. And dude, it was delicious. It was good, and I was just like, $30. I might have to drive an hour just to drive 3 hours just to come here, or whatever, 3 or 4 hours just to come here. So. Yeah.
So now this place you went shed hunting, is this a place that you can hunt then? This was your main
Yep.
farm or okay.
No, this is not my main farm.
No.
This is the newest farm I have access to. And this will be my upcoming 5th season here that I've had access to it.
Okay.
And so, I tell you what, why don't we do our commercial?
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way, and then we'll get into the story.
All right. So Code Blue Scents, and they have a full line of sprays from, your detergents, your body sprays. They have synthetics. They have the urines, everything that you could possibly use. And we used, so I didn't talk about it too much, but with my scrape kits, I used a little bit of that grave digger, and
Yep.
that grave digger stuff, I think really actually did trigger something too. You're supposed to take half of it and dig a little hole and then bury half of it and then pat it down with dirt and then
Yep.
sprinkle the rest on top. And it was like an instant. Here, especially at home, I noticed I had a buck like hit one of my main scrapes there. So
Yeah.
that Gravedigger product might be a new one to check out this coming fall too. And I
Yeah.
think there's a couple different powders that they have. They have a doe and estrus, and then they have like a dominant buck or something maybe.
Yeah. I made the mistake last year, and they called me out on it. They didn't call me out. They reached out to me. I was using the doe and estrus too early. And they
Oh,
said
sure.
that, use the grave digger or the I don't know whatever it is, not the doe and estrus version of it, because I was using it in September too early. Not a lot of does are in estrus at that time. So the best thing is if you're going to use those scents, to use the non-estrus scents in that, and
Yeah.
that's going to be more realistic for you. And so, I mean, that's exactly what I did this weekend too, right? So we freshened up our rope-a-dope mock scrape kits. We put some of that grave digger on the scrape itself. I moved some branches out of the way so that the only thing hanging over it was the rope. And man, I'll tell you one thing I'm going to tell you is they're still scraping. I've never seen it so like it standing out now more than I ever have. But when you have some scrapes and we put more of the rack rub on our ropes and we freshen them all up, dude, I'm telling you right now, I truly feel not only does that keep deer on the property in some way,
Yeah.
but it also keeps them actively trying to communicate with each other through scent. And
Yeah.
so I don't know.
I think one of the things too that I forgot to I maybe talked about it before, but they also offer a bracket that you can cut
Yep.
some branches on, and if you have one of those spots where you don't have low branches and you need to create a scrape, one of those brackets works pretty good as far as getting a scrape exactly where you want it.
Exactly. Exactly. The bracket, so that would be like even on a field edge
Yeah.
where
Yep.
there might not be any overhanging trees
Yep.
or maybe some small bushes, and maybe you find a wooden fence post, you drill it right into that, and you
Yep.
can hang it right up. And now all of a sudden, or well, what a lot of guys do is they'll drill a hole in the middle of their food plot, and then they'll put a wooden stake in there. And I don't know. I'll have to do a little more research if you can hang it on a metal post as well somehow. There might be a way to hang it on a metal post as well.
So I hung mine on a cedar fence post that I have
Okay.
in like middle of a scrape
Yep.
or a middle of a food plot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so then I angled the branch up and everything. And I found that the best branches to use are anything, evergreen wise. They work really well, or an oak branch that still has leaves on it.
Yep.
It's something that can hold the scent on top of it, but it works well for putting a scrape exactly where you want it.
Exactly. Yeah. So codebluescents.com, discount code NFC20 for 20% off. Like they say, the best time to put out a mock scrape was yesterday. The second best time is today. So I freshened mine up, and we have a ton of months until season even starts. So
Yeah.
I want to be active in that aspect of it. And I still think that between now and the season starts, I'm going to try to create another one within shooting lanes of some of the stands that I moved around, and we'll get into that too. So,
Yeah.
first, I want to say we beat this snowstorm, and we got out shed hunting this this weekend. Talk to me about your shed hunting experience.
Yeah, so we went to this property. This is the first time we were on the property this year, and it just happened to be my son and I. And in years past, he doesn't want to walk as far. He gets worn out.
Yeah,
He's 10, and so I kind of know what to expect. This year he was really amped up about going, and he put some miles in. I mean, like I said, we probably hit that 3 mile mark, and it was some hilly terrain,
yeah,
and we saw a good sign, but we didn't jump anything. There wasn't a ton of fresh tracks, and like I say, on our loop back, he's like, "Dad, are we getting there?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're going uphill," and I could see he's getting tired, and then just ahead of us, it was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 yards. He picks up his first shed, and he's
yeah,
just stoked about it. Right away, it's
yeah,
in his room, and I got to, take a picture with it, and it was good. So,
yeah,
um, as far as like anything beyond that, I didn't get any shed hunting done on any of the other places. I tried to reach out to one of the neighbors across from my good farm, and he wasn't out there, so I wasn't able to get on there. But hopefully, maybe after this snow melts, I'll have a couple-hour window or something. But how,
yeah.
so now, when we were talking about yours, did you have any up and comers that you found sheds from, or big ones?
hmm
Yeah. Okay.
I got the positive and the negatives.
Okay.
Um, so on day one, so I pulled him out of school. We drove, 3 hours. We didn't get to the farm until like 4 o'clock, and then we started walking the easy stuff first. Right, we walked like the field buffer strips. I was able to glass one up. I saw this little white thing sticking out of some grass, and so I was like, "All right, boys." Like, this is how excited they were about shed hunting. I go, "Hey, I saw it. There's like this ravine
Yeah.
that drops way down and then comes right back up," and I was like, "Hey guys, we got to walk all the way around this." You think they listened to me? No, they
No.
went beeline
Yeah.
straight down. They dropped down this big ravine. They came back up. There was a fence that was kind of like laid down. They had to like climb up this cattle grate fence, this hog, that square hog fencing. They climbed up that, and then my son's buddy went and grabbed it. He's like, "Oh my god!" Jacked
Yeah.
up about it, and my son was jacked up about it. I'm like, "Hey guys, if there's that one in here, there's got to be more."
Sure.
And so then we started walking all the buffer strips around this field, and they found one more match, or it looked like it could possibly be the match set to that antler. And dude, they were jacked. They were so jacked up, and I really didn't have to motivate them at all, which was crazy the entire time.
Yeah.
I was telling them like, "Hey, listen, guys, they're here. They're here.
Right.
We just have to find them." And I so we walked that field buffer strip. I found a really big, unique, like 3x3 deadhead that looked like a couple things may have happened. Maybe it got hit by a car.
Mhm.
Maybe it died of EHD. It still had some velvet on its antlers, but they were points, right? It was points, so it looked like it died early in the process. But all the antlers tips were fully developed, but you can tell it died in the early August, maybe late July timeframe.
Mhm.
And so maybe it got hit by a car, maybe it died of EHD. Um, and so we found that buck, and they were jacked up about that. And we walked around the pond, and then we started walking like CRP trails just
Mhm.
because it was easy. We dropped down to all the spots that were that took little to no effort to get to, and basically spent as much time like scrubbing this. And then we walked around this pond. So this pond is planted with all these oak trees around it. So whoever did this did it like 15 years ago. So you got all these 15-year-old oaks, and they're probably 20 foot high now, and they just circle this pond. Hey, the cool thing is we found like 3 sheds in this like strip of oaks. Like,
Yeah.
it's like 4 rows of oak trees.
Yeah.
And dude, we found this buck that was, I'm guessing, a 4-year-old this year. he was probably in that 150-ish range, but because he broke off his antler, I said he's a no-go for this year. He broke off his G3.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, I'm gonna let him walk if he comes by. He never came by, and then he kind of disappeared. But we found all these boys were looking on the ground, and I have a little more experience than them, so I can like notice the differences of what's a branch versus what's a shed. And I look into this bush, and I see this pedicle, and I'm like, "Hey guys, look! Start walking that way." They walk right by it.
Yeah.
So the shed was in a bush. And so, you know, I don't know. We call that a hanger.
Yep.
You know, and so I was like, boys, I don't think you understand. Like I was trying to hype them up. I don't think you understand what we just saw, because, you know, they're in their football card era.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So they're like, this is rare. This is rare. So I was like, dude, this one's a hanger. You know how rare that is? And so my boy walked over and he picked it up. He's like, oh my God, it's a hanger. And like, I don't even think they knew what was going on. And I was like, I was trying to hype it up. And then, so we found 3 in there. And then, you know, I saw most of these sheds before they even did.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, guys, my gut tells me you should walk this way, and my gut tells me you should walk this way. And so we got into this CRP field, and I found 2 antlers, and I played stupid, and I was like, hey, come this way. You know, there's probably one in this little area, and then they would find it.
Yeah.
And so they would get jacked, and really the first day, the first night we were there was just walking CRP in really easy places to you know, and hoping we would run into the ones that we didn't necessarily have to look real hard for.
Yeah. Huh. So the bad news, you found 2 deadheads.
So the one was a big dude. His bases were probably like this coffee cup.
Holy cow.
I mean, he was huge, but he was only like 3 or 4 scoreable points.
Yeah.
But he had all this junk around his bases, and he had like a big kicker coming off the back of his base that it looked like a mace. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But he had really long, he probably had a 24-inch main beams.
Wow.
But he was only like a 3x3. It was crazy. Giant deer. I don't remember getting him on trail camera. I have to go through and look. Maybe I did in velvet, but you could tell that antler had been there since, you know. The next morning we go out and we walk this CRP field, and they found like 2 more sheds, smaller sheds in this CRP field. And then we get into the timber, and I don't know if you remember any of my Instagram story from this past year, but I found I passed this 145-inch 3-year-old dude who he had a split G3. He had Giganto written all over him if he would have got, you know, 2 more years under his belt. And all of a sudden I hear, oh my God, my God. And my son's buddy is like, look what I found, what I found. Pulls him up, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. Right? Like, he's a giant. And it's crazy because whenever you pass a deer, you never know, right? No. You never know if he's going to make it. It's a leap of faith. But we found him, and there he was. I couldn't tell. He's too far away from a road to think it was a road hit. My gut tells me he was a firearm during the firearm season, like shotgun season. Someone hit him, couldn't find him, and or lobbed something at him from a long distance, and then didn't follow any blood. I don't know. He wasn't too far off of a fence line, really. Yeah. So,
hey, it's sad enough to hear, you know, your neighbor shot it, you know, but then to come up on him and find him dead, you know, and you don't know the whole story to it, and just, I don't know, it's a bitter ending to it.
Yeah, he was completely healthy around that November 5th time frame, or excuse me, November 10th time frame.
Yeah.
I even got pictures of him all the way up until Thanksgiving. And then I'd have to go back and check my cameras, because then they started to all wear out around the shotgun seasons. But it was very odd finding that, dude. We found a lot of dead does too. And these looked like gun type of, just from the amount of decay and how much meat and or fur was still left on their body. They looked like wounds, like bow. I don't know, maybe it could have been bow.
Yeah.
But I'm the only guy who hunts that farm.
Yeah.
But on that property, we found like 1, 2, 3 dead does that were fresh, and then one dead buck that looked fresh from the gun season. So I'm not really sure what it was. I'm not a forensic scientist, but I'll tell you this: it was weird finding that many dead deer between November and now, and so
yeah, that's a little alarming in a
yeah,
way.
yeah,
I mean, because those are obviously numbers you're not accounting for.
right, right. And so, other than that, the cool thing about this was I got these kids outside, right? Every single thing they found, they wanted to pick up and take with them. So they had like a doe skull from like 5 years ago. They would find a doe skull and they're like, "Oh my God, does this count?" Because it got kind of competitive.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you got how many? Okay, well, I got more. It's like, I found this doe head. I found this bone. This counts as one, right? Does this count, Dan? Hey, Dan, does this count?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, guys, usually we're not picking up doe heads. You can do whatever you want, but usually we're not picking up doe skulls and carrying them around with us.
Right.
We're kind of here to look for shed antlers, but if you want to carry around a doe skull all day, you go for it.
Well,
so
that's
jacked.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about, if a kid has a buddy with or something like that, because it turns into a competition. But
yeah,
with all the different bones and skulls and everything, they're getting their eyes trained for finding those antlers, and to do like you did. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like, hey guys, maybe over this way,
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's how you get them into it.
I didn't plan any either. I didn't, like in the past when my kids were younger, I would throw out 1 or 2 sheds like that were just obvious, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, let's walk around here, and then they'd find them, they'd get all jacked up. But this time I didn't do it. But the cool thing about this, why I think shed hunting is really cool, is whether you find sheds or not, you find something. Because we had conversations about things like, this is a fox skull, or this is a raccoon skull, or this is a femur, or a bone for a deer. This is a rib cage for a deer, or hey, don't touch that plant, that's poison oak, or like just a whole bunch of different conversations that are good for, I'm just going to say, like woodsmanship.
Yeah.
Right. Like at one point, I can remember stopping and moving a tree stand.
Yeah.
And so I made them pause for about 10 minutes while I moved a tree stand about 30 yards. And then I sat there, I put it up, and then I asked them the question, why did I move this tree stand here? I want you guys to look around and think about that. Why did I do that? And so, my son said something like, well, there's a lot of tracks that cross this creek right here. I'm like, good observation. And then the other kid would say, well, look, there's a rub right there. And I said, good observation. And so I would pull them into this intersection where 2 trails met. And I'd stand at the intersection. I'd go, look at this trail come this way high. Look at this trail come this way low. Now, when I sit in this tree, what direction should I have the wind blowing so that it doesn't spook any deer? And they would look around a little bit and they'd go, you want the wind to blow that way. I'm like, bingo, right? I need a west or northwest wind, and this stand's going to be amazing. And so having those little conversations as well were, I don't know, maybe it stuck with them, maybe it didn't, but it's just like the beginning of something. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, we were doing the same thing, because when we first got to this place, I kind of know exactly where to look as soon as, We hit the
Hmm.
ground, we take off, and we go into the beds. I mean, that's where we're identifying beds right away, and I'm trying to get them to distinguish between,
Hmm.
a doe bed and a buck bed, and why he's facing this way or that way. And
Yep.
then when we head down a trail and we see a scrape, and why the scrape is in this position, and then if there's any rubs leading into a certain area, so we talked about a bunch of that too, as far as the whitetail woodsmanship, but then just the overall woodsmanship, like you were saying. We talked about there was dead blue jays, so there's blue
Yeah.
jay feathers all over. There was turkey feathers all over.
Yep.
But then this farm, it's also cattle grazed,
Hmm.
so we got to the end, well, down to the bottom before we have to make our halfway turnaround. And he's like, do you think it's because of the cows? And his observation of like
Hmm.
the cows being in there in the last several months maybe pushed the deer out and they're not
Yeah.
dropping antlers. And, so a lot of that stuff, I think, they observe, but I think they're
Hmm.
also learning too.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I kind of learned about my one son today is about how hard to, this weekend was how hard to push him. Um, and some of the reason is he's not very comfortable being alone, if that makes sense,
Hmm.
quite yet. And so I was trying to send him, I was trying to test him this weekend, to be honest with you, and send him on some trails where I would disappear out of sight for just a little bit, right?
Sure.
And he always he was always like, this is more of like a dad thing and less of a hunting thing, but he was always kind of wanting to know where I was at. He was unsure of being alone, and I had to keep reminding him, like, if I yell, you'll be able to hear me. Just
Right.
because you can't see me doesn't mean there's nothing, there's anything wrong. And so there were times where I was trying to, I don't know, like wean him a little bit, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and try to get him to be comfortable by himself in certain scenarios. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk on this side of this finger. You're going to walk on the other side. You're going to be high. I'm going to be low. You won't be able to see me for a little bit, but we'll meet at the point. And you could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable about doing some of that. But then towards the end of the day, he started getting more comfortable and things like that. But there were the conversations from both boys that were like, "Are there bears in Iowa?
Yeah.
Will I see a coyote or a mountain lion?" And I'm just like, "Dude, don't worry about it. Like, there's not that nothing like that is. You're not going to see anything like that.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's going to be running away from you."
Your son's 10 or 11, somewhere in
Yeah,
there?
he's 10. Yep,
Yeah,
10.
yeah. So I mean, we did the same exact thing. I mean, we walked down the field edge to get in. We crossed through the gate, and then as soon as we crossed through, I'm like, "You're gonna go over this way. I'm gonna go over
Mhm.
this way," and he does that whole thing too. Where he just kind of like follows in your footsteps. But
Yeah.
then you get that separation. It's like, oh, and it's
Yep.
like, no, you're okay.
Yeah.
I'll hear you, and I'm not that far, but
Yeah.
I think it's part of letting go a little bit on
Yep.
our end, but also like them being able to take that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there was a lot of times where both boys started following me
Yeah.
instead of staying on the line. Like, shed hunting is all about like trying to find your own line, and so you're not walking in front of someone or behind someone. You walk your own line, and I kept trying to tell them that, and it just wasn't. Like, there were times where it wasn't sinking in. I go, "Hey boys, real quick, just to let you know, you're walking behind me, and that means that I'm going to be the first one to see it, and then it's going to be my shed.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to find your own sheds, you have to walk your own line."
Right.
And try to educate them on that too, and that worked. That kind of worked when I was, there were a couple times I'm just like, "Guys, I'm going to find all the sheds. Like, you're going to have to spread out. So I'm going to leave it up to you, but I'm going to go this way." And I was walking like places where I knew sheds probably weren't going to be,
Yeah.
but I'd see them. If they just would have walked their line, they would have seen them before me. And so, well, I
Well,
had to go through all that whole thing too.
and I think whether you find sheds or not, or whether they can separate from you or not, hey, they
Yeah.
got outside, they did some hiking. I
Yep.
remember my son telling me on the way back, he's like, "Oh, this hill." I'm like, Yeah, I'm like, you'll feel it in your calves a little bit, your quads a little bit.
Mhm.
And he's like, it's a good football workout. We get back to where he found his shed, and we're pretty close to the truck by then.
Right.
And he's like, oh, it was well worth it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
see, I told you before we even walked, like sometimes it takes walking that little extra bit.
Yeah.
And I try to correlate that with everything else. Like it takes that little extra bit,
Yep.
just to get what you desire. But um I think it's great. But so in a nutshell, you've had this property for like 5 years. Well,
Yeah.
now you go scout with your kids and everything like that. Was there anything that you took away from it that you haven't already known in 5 years?
Well, yes. Now I told you about my knee issue, right?
Yeah.
At the end of
Yep.
last year, I twisted it pretty bad. It was very difficult for me to climb up a tree stand by the end of November. And so my knee's feeling better now because I've had an injection, and then next week I have my knee surgery. So what I was doing, or what I was really trying to, I knew where I needed to move a couple tree stands.
Yeah.
My goal was to do some hinge cutting. I didn't get to it, um, but I did get to observe what my hinge cutting looks like now,
Yeah.
which I want to talk about. But I moved I took a tree stand down and I put it in. So it's where I missed my buck this year. Tons of movement, but it was just on the other side of this terrain feature. And so I moved a tree stand closer into this terrain feature and created a ton of shooting lanes for it. And so the cool thing about this is I needed to get it in there, so I had a shot opportunity on these trails that were coming in right in front of me. Um, it it looks really thick when you get in there, but then once I got the tree stand up, I cut down one huge Osage orange branch and then an entire tree, Osage orange tree,
Hmm.
and dropped it. Um, it's gonna be a money tree stand. The cool thing was that the boys helped me do all the cutting. Like they would help me pull away. They wanted to participate, and because of that, I'm like, so like we live on a street.
Yeah.
They both live on the same street, so we named that stand our street name.
Oh, cool.
So this is the street,
Yeah.
the stand, and they're like, "Oh my God, you got to tell us when you're going to hunt it." So I would tell them, I would be like, "Hey, like if my goal this year is to kill a deer out of this stand
Yeah.
this year," and they were pretty excited. They were pretty excited about that, and they loved cutting trees and pulling them out of the way and using a saw and branches and, hey, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? I'm like, you guys can do two things. You can keep looking for sheds over in this area, or you can help me here and we'll get done faster and we'll go look for more sheds. And so they decided they wanted to help, and I think they had a lot of fun doing it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd take something away from what you
Yeah.
just said, and then you can tell me about your hinge cutting. But the name of your stand and stuff, it had me thinking about the naming deer. So
Yeah.
obviously you used to, maybe you still do a little bit, or you kind
I
of.
used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
used to a lot.
So I used to a lot also, that
Yeah.
was like a big thing. That was how we identified our deer. Well, when we were out there the other day, my son says, he's like, yeah, you remember, such and such buck? I'm like, yep. And, he refers to that buck. He was 4 years old and we found his sheds. And so to me, maybe it's not maybe it is an age thing, maybe it's not an age thing, but either way, what I took out of it is he enjoyed knowing which deer that was by that
Yeah.
name, instead of just
Yeah.
saying, that big 10 point or that big 8 point, it was able to identify it from pictures and sheds. And
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the bucks, that buck that they found in the bush, the
yeah,
hanger,
yeah,
I have now named him the hanger buck.
yeah, sure.
And so I'll be able to share stories with that, when I start getting pictures of him in velvet and all that stuff. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see what he grows into. But I had a goal of trying to find sheds. That's important.
All right.
The other goal was to move the tree stands. And then I had one location where I wanted to get a trail camera put up basically in a location where turkeys would strut.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get this damn bolt undone with my hands. So I had to like take this bracket apart to put and bring it back in the truck. So I didn't get a trail camera put up. No big deal. And then I wanted to do some hinge cutting. That didn't get done. So of the 3 tree stands I wanted to move, I got 2 of them moved. Found sheds, which was the main takeaway for the boys. The trail camera stuff and the mineral stuff got put on hold until probably, I don't know, maybe I'll drive down there in May or something to freshen it up. But I got an opportunity 1 year ago while I was down there. I cut down like 22 different trees. Okay. A couple realizations. One, my hinge cutting on some of the trees worked.
Yeah.
Okay. So the tree fell over. There was still enough juice in it to where I started to see some vertical growth, which is awesome.
Yep.
Right. And in that, some grass and some multiflower rose and other vegetation grew up. And to me, to be honest with you, that is exactly what I wanted. I wanted lower stem count. I wanted it to be thicker through grass and maybe create an area for them to bed in. But what surprised me is cutting or hinging those 22 trees did not do as much of a thick area as I thought it would.
So you think it would take?
It would probably take 60 trees.
Oh, okay.
To make the thickness level increase to where I actually wanted it.
Okay, so I was gonna say either more trees or a different tree variety.
I mean, it could have been like a bigger tree. I mean, obviously an Osage orange tree and these black locusts. This is old cattle pasture, right? So imagine hitting fast forward on a cattle pasture by 30 years, 40 years. That's what is going on with this place. Yeah. Okay. And so maybe it was the direction of the sun. Maybe it was what was already in there. I would say that the true impact of that area is, I don't know, like 100 feet by 100 feet, 22 trees, and the true impact of that area that grew up, the thickness, the lower stem count was really like 100 feet by 100 feet.
Did you see beds in there and stuff, deer beds, or
I'm sure there were.
You didn't.
There's a lot of deer sign in this area, but the actual size of that impact of that was pretty small. So that told me that the next time I do something like that, I'm gonna have to dedicate more time and energy into hinging more trees.
Yeah.
More trees and more trees.
So. Now, I always hear, when we're doing this habitat improvement and stuff like that, guys are always wanting to get rid of cedars, wanting to get rid of multiflower rose. And, I'll be honest, like, I like to get rid of some of that stuff too, but man, those are some of my favorite places to look for deer and look for sheds and hunt. I mean, cedar thickets and multiflower rose, that's where a buck is going to put himself.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you this right now, dude. I don't know what it is about multiflower rose, but it's almost like they just love living in and around that stuff. It's thick, it's low to the ground, and like they can nestle up right into it. And if they can find a path into it that's not going to restrict them, they'll be in it. It's always the worst possible places for humans to go is where these deer love to be.
Oh, sure.
That's just kind of what I've seen over the years. Well, so it's almost like if you were gonna build your own farm, it'd be like find out where the cedars, multiflower rose, and black locusts are, and that's where you're going to find the deer, right?
Well, and I think so much goes by the wayside with, deer live at 5 foot and below. It's like we put so much emphasis on all this, making the farm look just so that actually Man, I've seen some beautiful farms get destroyed
Yeah.
because people have taken out, the cedars and the multiflower rows. And then, I mean, yeah, sure, they're going to get deer back eventually with their food
Right.
plots. But I don't know. There's something special about walking a good cedar thicket with a
Yeah.
CRP out front or something, and then dropping down into some multiflower rows. It's not fun stuff to walk in. Obviously
Yeah.
it must just be a back scratcher for them, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just, it's weird because where do you want to put your time?
Right.
You did your hinge cutting and stuff, and I'll go out and I might knock a tree or two down, but the woods that we have is the woods that we have. I don't really
Right.
want to take too much away from it. So I'm going to put my efforts into either making mock scrapes or food plots and try to adjust my stands according to each year crop
Right.
rotations.
Right. Right. Yeah, so I need to do a little bit more at that. It's going to be too late for me this year. I'm not going to get down there before the surgery happens, and then by the time I'm able to start walking again and carrying a chainsaw around, it's going to be too close to hunting season to do any type of habitat work. But I am really excited about, like, I kept going. The boys thought I was nuts because I'd climb in the tree, I'd put up the 2 tree stands, and I was like, oh, boys, this is a kill set.
Yep.
This is a kill set, boys. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, a big buck is going to come right where you're at or right up here, and I'm going to smoke them. Right. And they're like, God, you're crazy. Like, it's just a tree stand. Like, what does it mean? I go, someday, boys, you're going to understand of things like this are going to get you excited if you take it to this level.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was going like, woo, boys, woo, and they were just like, God, this guy's crazy. He's talking about trees.
It just
like why this tree's in the right spot.
Right. Fast forward 10 years, and that'll be them. I mean, that's just it's going to be. I mean, he's half yours, So
yeah, exactly. I was telling him, like, I was saying to him, like, God put this tree here just so I could kill deer out of it, guys.
Yep.
So just be ready.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you when it happens. And so,
I could go back a couple weeks when I was out at my favorite farm to hunt. We talk about moving stands, and I've done this several times, several years. And there was a streak that I had, like, I don't know, 7 years in a row that I'd shot bucks out of like a 20-yard radius. Like, I would just bebop back and forth, And so now I'm pushing the envelope. Like, I move a little bit further. Bit further. And so I've got a stand that's probably 150 yards from where I originally started, and I'm still having success with it. Well, when I'm out shed hunting a couple weeks ago, I noticed this tree that to me just looks dynamite. And the only problem I have with it is, like, how intrusive do you want to get? Because I know that, like, if I leave that western side of this piece alone, that they're going to travel that they're potentially bedding in there, and that they will filter over to the eastern side of this piece, It just, I don't know, something to think about. I may dabble with it, but we'll see.
Yeah. The thing about it is I really found a lot of other locations where I could possibly put a tree, but because or a tree stand, but because of access routes, I'm not sure I want to, because of limited access routes. You got to go through something, especially in a morning hunt. You'd be going right through, like, the transition from like destination food to back to bedding. And I feel like there would be something there that would hinder me getting to a tree stand, unless I got access from a different location, but I didn't. So
yeah, so you're getting surgery in the 29th, is that what you said?
1 week from tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, 25th, I believe, or something like that. Yeah, 25th.
25th, 24th. Okay, so any preparation for that you have to do? I mean, you got to go
That was this.
Yeah.
That was this. And really, the other farm that I have, I just don't have enough time to get there. All those stands, I've been hunting that farm since 2007. So the tree stands that I do currently have there are in pretty good spots.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've killed deer out of most of them. I don't need to do too much. I'm sure I'll have to move some tree stands around come October, November to get into the best possible spots.
Yeah.
But I'm not too terribly worried about, I'm not too terribly worried about getting in and out of these places. I've got everything. I feel the only thing I'm going to have to do is this summer put trail cameras out, and then maybe a little mineral, and that's it, man. I feel like I kind of missed an opportunity. I think I missed one opportunity to maybe frost seed some clover, but outside of that, I don't have like a standard food plot, so it would just be kind of a guess to do that. It's basically mixed clover in with grass and things like that. And so I don't know, maybe I missed that opportunity, but I feel like I got enough done this past weekend to set me up on that particular farm for something really good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you already know your farms well enough to where you should be in good position either way. But no, I'm not. And I know you've mentioned this before in the past on yours, but I'm not getting knee replacement, but I will no longer be able to reproduce after April 17th. So we have that coming
There
up.
you go.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that there's no surprises.
No,
there's no more surprises.
No.
Although I will say this, that I know a guy who had a vasectomy, and then I think he was like in his late 30s when he got a vasectomy, and then 12 years later got his wife pregnant.
Wow. So now he had the vasectomy, but then did he have to go test it 6 months later or whatever?
Yeah.
He did.
No, it's not 6 months. It's like 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
You have to give a sample.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and the doctor said, you're good to go. So something happened. Nature found a way.
12 years later.
12 years later, he had anher kid.
Was he sure
and so
it was
he
his?
had to. Yeah, well, that's what the joke was.
Yeah, well,
but,
sure.
Dude, it looks just like him now, right?
Oh.
And so it's crazy it would be crazy right now for me to have a baby in the house. And I'm sure you're getting ready to walk that here.
Dude,
really soon.
So we got Wednesday's 31 weeks, so 9 weeks. Yeah. 9 weeks.
What's crazy is I was sitting. I'll be vulnerable here a second.
Ahead. Yeah.
I was sitting at church yesterday, and there was a baby behind me, just cooing like a little, it's like a little baby, probably like, I think he was 9 weeks old, right? Like 1 month old, just like a baby. And I look back and I'm like, man, I miss those sounds, right? I miss all that. And just kind of as, I don't know, the stage that I'm going through in life, I just was like, dude, it sucks that I'm past that stage, but I don't miss waking up in the middle of the night anymore. I don't miss having to clean up shit all over the place. Like I don't barf and shit and spit up and the baby, as I'm looking at this baby and telling the mom how beautiful the baby is, it's like projectile spit up all over the floor and the chair my son was standing in. And I go, I don't miss that though.
Right. Well, I mean, to your point, time is a thief. Yeah, I mean, it really is. When you blink, your kids are as tall as you are, and my kids are standing at shoulder height and above, and I'm getting passed by all of them. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a fun time to see, like what this one gets into, and what this one likes. It's, a little nervous, I guess, with, thinking back, like, how did I do that before? What was that like then, because, I mean, like my son was my youngest at that time, and he was 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago almost, it's crazy. But now watching them do stuff that I've always enjoyed to want to watch, and now I get to start all over.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be good, man. It'll be good. It'll be crazy, but it'll be good, man. And it's just another opportunity to, get kids into the outdoors. I mean, that's just one more outdoorsman. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's going to be crazy because by the time he's in 10 years, when 10, years when he's just starting his journey, he's lucky because everybody else will be out of the house.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he'll get spoiled because he'll have he'll have an old dad, but that old dad will be able to focus on him. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and so we're having a girl.
Oh, a girl. Okay,
yeah. So we're gonna be well outnumbered here, but yeah, it's kind of funny because she'll be daddy's little girl. For the longest time, she'll want to do that stuff. I hope, but she'll also look at me like there's my old man, and then there come the teenage years where he's embarrassing, and I'll be that much more embarrassing because not only will I have changed her diapers, but by that time she'll probably be changing my diapers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, old dad. I thought about it. So my son in 10 years, he'll be a senior in high school, my youngest son. So that means I'll be 55 years old and my mom, this is crazy. My mom was 43 when I was a senior in high school. So that's crazy. So my mom had all her kids out of the house by the time she was 46.
That's nuts.
That's nuts.
I'll be 46 in August, and
exactly.
I'm gonna have a newborn here in May. And my mom actually graduated college the year I graduated high school. And she had four kids. It's just crazy, and there's still. I mean, my mom was 19 when she had me, and then so my sister's 13 years younger than me. Well, between my wife's oldest and our baby, there's going to be over 13 years between those two also. I don't know. It's going to be crazy, but I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Right. Cool, man.
So, any plans for the woods or anything this week or no?
No. Well, no. I can't do anything in this weather.
Yeah.
I just got to focus on trying to catch up on some work.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the knee's going to be like in the next couple weeks, and I'm kind of behind on some of stuff, and I gotta figure out how I'm going to get up here. I might have what they call the couch sessions, where I'm going to be recording a podcast from like my bed or from a locked room in the house from my laptop. So the quality will be okay. It's just the background on the video might be a bed frame or might be and whatever, right? And so
I my bed frame is right there, and my closet is right here, and then behind me is a dresser, and then there's a storage of just junk papers back here, and I've been able to hide most of it, but we're closing in on the end of that too. So hopefully, maybe I'm not even going to throw out a date. Let's just say down the road here.
Yeah, exactly. So. Well, I'm dude, I tell you what, with all that said, the biggest thing that's happened to me in the last week is I got excited about the upcoming season in a way that I haven't been in like the last 3 or 4 years, right? The last time I got excited about like really this early on about hunting is when I got access to the new property, the property that we went and shed hunted, and I was like, oh my God, I got a new farm to kind of figure out, and it's a good little deer farm. It holds decent deer, and I was excited about it, and then like. Just through coaching and football and all that stuff, my mind was so focused on work and my kids that I didn't really have any time to get excited about the upcoming season, or I chose not to. But what I will say is that when I put these 2 tree stands up in their new locations, it reminded me of the olden days where I would like the olden days, right? Like 15 years ago, where I would go out on weekends and just like scout and put up new tree stands and scout for trees and mark it on Onyx and things like that. And I did that again. Yeah. And dude, I don't know why I'm saying this, but it made me feel young, and it made me excited for the possibility of what could happen this upcoming year because of 2 tree stands.
Well, I was going to say, do you think it's because of the tree stands, or do you think it's because of the youth that you had in the boys with you?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
right? Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And they, it wasn't just the shed hunting aspect of it. As I was setting up the first tree stand, they started to wander around a little bit. And I pretty much gave them the rule. You can go wherever you want. Just do not cross any fences. Right. And so they made their way down to the creek, and you could just hear them talking like, check this rock out. Oh my God. Like, check this tree. Look at this crazy thing, or whatever the case was. And I just was like, this is a good thing. Yeah. Because they're not in front of an iPad or on a device scrolling YouTube or whatever like that. They're not playing video games. This is what it's all about.
Right.
It's not about like chasing down some big deer and making sure they have strategy. It's this foundation of appreciating and getting excited about the outdoors. Right. Well, and that's what I think I was the biggest takeaway.
Yeah. And I mean, you just said it, you kind of went back in time, you got that fresh excitement, and I drove past a couple farms that I used to hunt a week ago or whatever. I was past them, and it's that same thing, you can remember walking in such and such morning, crisp fall, and you can remember every single hunt. But the thing with what we do now so much is time is a thief. Time goes fast, and we need everything right at our fingertips, and we just don't slow it down. I mean, everything's so rapid all the time.
Right. Yeah. It's bananas, man. It's bananas. Any final thoughts on this episode today before we shut her down?
Not much, but if you're here in the Midwest or wherever you got snow, hopefully it melts soon, and you can get out and find some sheds here before.
Or scout.
Yeah, or scout. Yep. Any one of those two things before it greens up too much. So
yeah. One thing I wanted to touch base on just real quick was the locations that and I'm going to run through this real quick. The locations in which we found the deer antlers, and all of the deer antlers we found, except 2, were in CRP. Were in tall grass, like warm season grass or cold season grasses, like taller CRP, in some type of transition between bedding and food. That's where we found all the sheds. The 2 sheds that we did find were on trails leading from bedding to, or, could have been back to bedding, but from bedding to like what I would say is a staging area, or, like a trail leading to destination food, like in the timber though.
Yeah.
So that's creek crossings too.
Yeah, that's where my son found his, was on a trail from bed to food. I mean, that's kind of what it's been. Yeah, it's just been so hit or miss with this weather that we had this winter, not having a snowpack and being warmer, that I think deer were just more spread out, and they haven't had to go to those general winter home ranges. So
Right. And this will throw a curveball for them for about, probably, I'm guessing, 2 or 3 more days until it gets warm again and starts to melt. But everybody, really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to this podcast. Thank you very much for that. Also, huge shout out to our partner, Code Blue Scents. If you guys could do us a huge favor, go check out their website, codebluescents.com. Go leave us a 5-star review wherever you download this podcast, and go check out our YouTube channel. Thank you guys very much, and have a good rest of your day.